Is Lego inflation real? Let's find out. What's going on, guys? So it's been an ongoing discussion or debate among the Lego community of whether or not Lego has gotten too expensive, or at least within certain themes. So let's check it out. And just real quick, if you guys could consider subscribing, that would be awesome. I'm trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber checkpoint. So you'd really be helping me out. Alright, thank you guys. Alright, let's get into it. Yeah, so a few days ago, I got recommended this video from Business Insider on this topic where they gaslighted me. JK, kind of. But yeah, it poured a little more fuel onto that fire again for me, and I felt like talking about it a little more. The video doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything, but it brings up a few decent points that I thought were worth mentioning. First off, though, Business Insider is a big enough channel or organization to where I'd say they're probably more surface level or mainstream in their analysis of topics. They're not going to dig into the nitty gritty of details as someone like me would, or, say the unpopular things. But like I said, their video did bring up a few good points regarding this debate, and one of the things they mentioned that I agree with is while it seems on the surface that sets have generally gotten more expensive, their builds have also gotten a lot more complicated, and I think that is a good point. Especially when we're talking the super popular themes like Star Wars or Marvel. Every time they remake a set, like a specific ship, you can usually count on it, not every time, having more pieces and being a much more sophisticated build. That being said, when you really dig into certain sets, you might find that the increased price isn't always justified. And also, real quick, I'm not claiming that like national inflation isn't a thing, which it obviously is. And I don't claim to be an economist or an expert on inflation by any means. That's an entirely different topic of discussion. Basically, when I say Lego inflation, I'm more talking unjustified price increases for sets. But to illustrate this, let's look at a few set remakes over the course of the last few decades, and then later I have one specific example that represents a general price per piece increase over time. And then I have one specific example that represents a general price per piece increase over time that I think a lot of people would consider to be unjustified. And this is probably going to be an ongoing discussion that we have on this channel as there are more updates or I find more examples, because I'm sure I'll find more in the future. Here's a couple instances that come to mind right off the bat when I think about the topic of Lego inflation. For the Super UCS sets like the Millennium Falcon and AT-AT, I specifically remember when those originally came out, they were $800, and then at one point they got increased to $850. If you try to check online, it's really difficult to confirm that. Even on Brickset, which I consider to be one of the most reliable sites for general info on a set, they've scrubbed their pages of any info related to the original retail price of $800 for those two sets. It is kind of weird. But I was able to find a random blog where a guy reported on the AT-AT being $800 right before it came out. This was in November 2021, right before the release. And so he states right here that it was going to be $800. Anyways, I never really figured out why they raised the price on those two sets. I kind of just figured it was a COVID thing at the time, because the national inflation was insanely high at that time for a while. Then fast forward to now, and inflation has leveled out, allegedly, yet those sets never went back down to $800, so that's kind of weird. Not that I've ever seen a Lego set decrease in price ever, and I'm sure some fans who paid the $850 for them would definitely be upset if it went back down after they had already gotten it. The Cantina set 75290 was also a set that increased in price since its release. It was $350 when it came out, and that's when I got it. And now it's $400. The price increase for the 800 sets is at a rate of 6.25%, which might be kind of reasonable. But for the Cantina, from $350 to $400 is an over 14% increase, which I would definitely say is not justified. Then, of course, anyone who's an avid Star Wars collector knows about how the battle packs were $15 for the longest time. Those are typically the army builder type sets and come with 4 minifigs. Within the last year or two, those sets have been raised to $20, and I don't think that's going anywhere. And with a lot of them as late, the quality hasn't necessarily maintained either. Most of us in the Star Wars community know about the messed up helmet holes with the Phase 2 clone troopers that LEGO still hasn't fixed in years at this point. Some people are cool with the helmet holes, but I think the majority of fans are pretty dissatisfied with them and thought they would have fixed them by now. It's just a weird mistake for them because they have the correct placement of where the holes should be, right below the actual holes. So to me it does look pretty bad to have the actual hole right above it. On these plane troopers it's acceptable, I guess, because the plane ones don't typically wear the helmet accessories. But on any specialized troopers where they do have an accessory, the mistake is pretty noticeable and unacceptable if you ask me. So the increased price for the battle packs coupled with that huge mistake is definitely a hard pill to swallow. To get even more specific, we can look on a piece-by-piece basis, and I do have one really good specific example we can look at. I wanted to take a closer look at the revolver accessory part that can be purchased through the LEGO Bricks and Pieces section on the website. We can also compare all three versions of the part because there is now a new version under a new part number. The original look I think is still the best. That color is just so nostalgic for me. But LEGO kept that look when they transitioned the part to the new dark stone gray color. And if you hit show out of stock on the LEGO site, you can see the old part. And it's been sold under that same part number for a long time. It was during my X-Wing remodel from 75218 that I realized that specific part is no longer being sold. It is confusing though because Bricklink hasn't even made the distinction in their system yet of the new revolver part. According to their site, the same revolver is still being used and appearing in sets that are still available to buy in 2024, like this Indiana Jones set. But that is the new revolver piece, and I confirmed that when I was looking at a review from Jang right here. So it's not the same as the one that appears in set 75218 from 2018. I do happen to have all three revolver pieces, and when comparing all of them, I did realize that the new one has a slightly different design where the handle is. Here's that Indiana Jones set that I was just showing you guys, and you can see that they are selling the new revolver piece. So the old part is 7 cents per piece, and then the new one is a whopping 17 cents per piece, which kind of feels insane. You'd hope that this price will go down eventually. I don't know, maybe they're just trying to make up the cost of this new design or something. But still, at an almost 143% increase in price per piece, that is just appalling to me. Just for fun though, since I do have all three different revolver pieces, let's just take a look at all of them and compare. Alright guys, yeah, so like I said before, I happen to have all three different revolver pieces from over time. So I thought we could just compare them and see what all the differences are between them. So this is the original revolver piece in the discontinued dark gray color. I have this from a Johnny Thunder minifig accessory pack that I got a little while ago. I wish they would do more accessory packs like this too. This one is, I used to love these. These are so sick. And then this revolver is, it's supposed to be the same part number, but then they were using the newer dark stone gray color. And this one came from my original 75218 X-Wing. I have it bagged up now because I showed you guys in another video I made a newer version of that. And then this is the brand new revolver piece that is now under the new part number. I just bought a few of these when I was gathering all the parts for my 75218 remake. So, alright, so looking at the two revolvers under that original part number, obviously the color is different. Before I thought it was only the new part that had that kind of groove around the handle, but I guess they kind of all do. But it's definitely more pronounced on the newest one. And then these parts, they kind of have that speckled look on the handle. It's definitely more pronounced on the original part. Same look on the bottom. And then I swear when I was comparing them side by side, it's really hard to get them lined up. I could be wrong, but I swear the newer one is just the tiniest bit, the tiniest margin longer. Really hard to confirm that though, but check that out. Does it look longer? The one on the right? But yeah, like I said, I love this original color so much. It's so classic. All right, now we can compare the middle one and then the newest revolver. This one you can really tell that the handle piece, the kind of groove around it, is much more pronounced than on the older ones. And then probably the biggest change is there's now a hole at the bottom of the handle. That's definitely new. And then even the color is different on the newest ones too. And I honestly think it looks worse. The color's definitely brighter, I'd say, on the new one. And I don't know if that's a good thing. Just has like more of a pristine kind of look. And I don't think that's just because these parts are brand new and this one was like on display for a little while. But yeah, you could almost argue now that since it's kind of like hollow at the bottom, they could be even using less material, yet the part is way more expensive. So yeah, I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, so the two main changes are on the handle, and other than that, I think they're pretty much the same. I tried to compare the size on these two also, and I think they're basically the same. But yeah, Lego doesn't really specify on their website which parts are now being made with the plant-based materials. So I don't know if this newest one is made with the plants, and maybe they just can't replicate certain colors anymore. I don't know, it's hard to tell. I guess, for now we just have to speculate. But that is kind of weird that there's that hole at the bottom. I wonder if it would sink if you put it into water, like after it filled up. We might have to test that at some point. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. What do you guys think about the changes for the revolver piece? What do you think about the price, the huge price increase? Do you think it's justified? Or do you think Lego kind of went too far on this one? And I'm hoping I'll find some more examples of like new parts that are much more expensive now. So I'll keep an eye out and I'll definitely let you guys know if I find some. Alright, thank you guys for watching as always. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.